Pastor Trish, Tuesday, November 17th. And I did, here, hang on just a minute. Let me look. I did yesterday after we got done. I was like, what week are we on? Week number 31 together, doing some evening devotions. We are doing another Psalm of Thanksgiving this evening, Psalm 111. But while I'm thinking about it, let me tell you what's going to be coming our way, your way, in a couple of weeks, less than a couple of weeks, perhaps. For the month of December, for the season of Advent, we are going to hopefully be posting an Advent greeting each evening from a Messiah member or family, and we'll be posting them to our Messiah website. So, depending on if you watch this on my Facebook page or on the Messiah Facebook page, beginning Sunday, November 29th, we will begin our Advent greetings that we'll do each night until Christmas Eve. And you'll find those if you're interested in those. You'll find them on our Messiah Facebook page. And then I will be taking a mini Sabbath, I guess, from our 3 nights a week devotion, and we'll start those again then after Christmas. And so it'll be something a little bit different for Advent for you, hopefully to look forward to and enjoy. So I'll tell you again about that, but while I was thinking about it, wanted to let you know. Until then, of course, we are sharing together, reading together, praying together some Psalms of Thanksgiving as we move closer to that time. As we gather together in the midst of some dark days and some really difficult days, it's all the more important to find opportunity and to remember to give thanks when it is easy to instead just simply turn to despair. So, giving thanks can be a good thing, and tonight is no exception. Psalm 111 is actually an individual psalm of thanksgiving. So it's a person giving this thanks. And it relates God's deliverance of Israel. So it really talks about God's mighty deeds, God's wonderful works. And what's cool about this that you and I cannot fully appreciate is that this is an acrostic poem, which means that every line in the poem, if we were reading it in Hebrew, would begin with the first, then the second, then the third letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Aleph, Beit, Gimel, and don't tell my seminary professors I've forgotten. Um, Aleph, Beit. There's 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. And so every line in this poem begins first with A, then B, excuse me, Aleph, Beit, Gimel, you understand. But we can of course appreciate that because we've translated it into English. So it's still kind of fun to think about it. And so in just those 22 lines, the psalmist gives thanks and praise to God and summarizes God's nature of deliverance, perhaps is the way to think about it, God's mighty works. So here is the psalm. And then there's one more thing I want to share with you this evening. Psalm 111. Praise the Lord. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart in the company of the upright in the congregation. Great are the works of the Lord, studied by all who delight in them. Full of honor and majesty is his work, and his righteousness endures forever. He has gained renown by his wonderful deeds. The Lord is gracious and merciful. He provides food for those who fear him, and he is ever mindful of his covenant, of his promise. He has shown his people the power of his works in giving them the heritage of the nations. The works of his hands are faithful and just. All his precepts, his teachings, are trustworthy. They are established forever and ever to be performed with faithfulness and uprightness. He sent redemption to his people. He has commanded his covenant forever. Holy and awesome is his name. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All those who practice it have a good understanding. His praise endures forever. A couple of things in there as I was reading, it popped out to me. The Lord is gracious and merciful. We heard that last evening as well. I like that we name this characteristic of God in these Psalms of thanksgiving. And they are established forever and ever. The other thing that caught my eye was He's commanded His covenant forever. And isn't that true? The same promise that God gave to the ancient Israelite people is the same promise He's giving you and me today in 2020. God's covenant lasts forever. God has made God's name known, and promise will go on forever. And I think there's some comfort in that, don't you? The one piece of the verse that I just wanted to circle back to, especially that has caught my heart this evening, is verse 1, actually, where it began, Praise the Lord. But then it said, I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart in the company of the upright in the congregation. And that one, that particular part of that verse, I think caught in me because we, of course, at Messiah have moved back online. We won't be able to worship in person again until things are better. And I know we're not alone in that. Other churches are making that decision. I know of my colleagues who have meetings as we speak tomorrow evening. So I know a number of churches are making that decision, as have the schools. And what caught for me was I give thanks to the Lord in the midst of, in the company of the upright, in the congregation. How do I continue to give thanks to the Lord if I'm not in the congregation, at least physically, as the psalmist probably was and talked, right? And so that's caught me, is that as much as we will miss not being able to gather together, we still give thanks to the Lord. And these devotions are just one example. Often, some of you will make a comment or offer your own idea or thanks or praise to God. And so we do that together. The congregation may look different than it did just last week or a few weeks ago or a year ago, but we still have opportunity to give thanks and praise to God and to do it as part of, as you'll remember, we talked about that last week, as part of our witness to God's goodness, God's mighty acts, God's deliverance. And so I pray that you not only will continue to give thanks and praise to God, but that you too will be mindful of the ways that you can do it in whatever congregation, in whatever company of upright people you find yourselves in. And in turn, may you be blessed by that as well. Have a good evening, and I'll see you on Thursday.